What's going on, YouTube? This is Just Crust, and I know, I've been gone a while. I get it, but that doesn't matter. I'm here. And we're actually gonna start this off by deleting a row, just so it's there's a lot of quarterbacks here. Doesn't matter why I was gone, because I was getting ahead of myself. I'm here now with a tier list of starting quarterbacks for the 2021-2022 season. There are a lot of quarterbacks here, about 5, 10, 14 times 3, 42, 47, there's 52 quarterbacks here, roughly, give or take. That mental math is good enough. And we're going to be ranking them on S to F or backups, because they have a lot of backups here for some reason. So, let's get started. First one here is Zach Wilson. How do I think he's going to do? He's going to do awful. This is as of my opinions on July 31st, 2021, at 3:37 in the morning right now. And I believe that that Zach Wilson will do awful his first year. Do I think he'll be a bust? Maybe. I'm not going to lie to you, maybe. He might be a bust. But I believe that personally, truthfully, his first year he will do awfully. Because I hate to be like, oh, college to NFL, how you did in college is exactly how you do in the NFL, because obviously that's not how it works. Obviously, you can develop over, time. However, Zach Wilson played no comp. Let's clear the air. He played no comp. He just got done with his holdout today. He played this is his first day of practice, and he did mid at best. I think Zach Wilson will do poorly his rookie year, and I think Jets fans will be okay with that. I think that'll be fine. Now, Trevor Lawrence, I think will do decent. And hear me out. Jacksonville's also not a great team. But, he has a good set of he has a good set of weapons. DJ Chark, James Robinson, Etienne was drafted. Laviska Shenault is coming into his own. D.D. Westbrook, I think, is still there. He'll do fine. I don't think he'll do great. Zach Wilson, I'll say he'll probably have 15 touchdowns, maybe 15, 20 picks, something around there. Trevor Lawrence, I think he could probably do 20 and 15, 20 and 10, 20 and 15, something around those numbers. Justin Fields is backup for right now. He's the backup. Nagy said week 1, Justin Fields is the backup to Andy Dalton, and that's fine. That's actually fine. Actually, hold on. We're gonna do some on the fly editing. Because I deleted the D tier because I don't want to be too cluttered. However, I think I really need a D tier. Specifically for Trevor Lawrence, actually. I think Trevor Lawrence will be a D tier-ish quarterback. Justin Fields is backup. I think he won't be the backup all year. And when he starts, he'll probably be I'll float him around the D tier. If it's a quarterback competition or they'll expect it to take over halfway through the year, I guess I'll write them too. Justin Fields is going to be decent. I think he'll be decent. I think if Nagy can use his legs to his advantage, he could be dangerous, first off. His arm is incredible. He has good accuracy. And he has Allen Robinson. And that's about all you really need. Now, our first, bona fide starter, Tom Brady. Tom Brady's an A tier. He'll be an A tier next year. He did good this year. He did really good, and he was learning a new offense without an actual bona fide offseason. And he did well. He won a goddamn Super Bowl. He did perfectly fine. And I think he'll do fine. Bruce Arians' bombs away offense benefited Brady in a way that I don't think a ton of people expected, because obviously everybody called him a check down quarterback, and then this season he was throwing bombs, and all 11 starters on offense are back. They re-signed Antonio. They got, I think, the franchise tag on Godwin. Scotty Miller is still there. He loves Scotty Miller. I think he will do great. I think they will make the playoffs again, and he'll go 12-5, maybe 13-4 even. Now we have Mack Jones. Mack Jones, I'll float at D tier, because I think if he does start, if Cam Newton can't haul them off, and he does start, I think he'll do adequate. I I I think he'll probably, again, he will do the worst of those three, like bar none. I think that the offensive talent around him is good, but I mean, he was used to having the Alabama god wide receivers, and now he has Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne on the outside. Jacoby Myers maybe running the slot. I don't think he's going, like, he has great tight ends, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, and he's going to have a pretty good run game with Damien Harris in the backfield, and like that's going to be good, and it'll keep a nice balanced attack. However, I don't really believe that he will do amazing once he gets in. I think that if he gets put in the middle of the season, if he doesn't win the starting job week 1, honestly, which is a scary thought, if he gets put in installed halfway through the year, I think he'll provide stability. I think his performance will be like steady week to week, because I feel like Cam, at least last season specifically, gave you really good games, really good performances. Like I'm thinking of the Seattle game, the first couple of games before he got COVID, he was a beast. And then like after that, he was really, really streaky. And I think Mack Jones could at least give you stability in that sense. Kyle Trask is a backup. Hopefully third string. Hopefully Blaine Gabbert gets to, get another ring with the Bucks. Ian Book, also backup. I don't know why he put Ian, or the person who made this, the pictures on all the tier lists and everything, put Ian Book in here. Joe Burrow will be our first C tier quarterback. I think he will do pretty good. I think he'll do fine. I think he'll be serviceable. He didn't get Penei Sewell in the draft. He instead got another offensive weapon to benefit, or to be put next to T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon. That's a scary offense. That is scary if Joe Burrow can get the ball off. And I don't think it's it's not his fault at all. Like, he might have taken a couple sacks because he was a rookie and he wasn't going through his reads correctly, and this, that, and the other. However, I think Joe Burrow, if they give him a lick of protection, that Bengals team could shock some people and win 7 to 9 games, I would say. I don't think they're going to be a playoff contender. I don't think that at all. But they could be a playoff route. Like, they could be a spoiler. They could be that team to beat playoff teams and prevent them. And I'm saying that as a Steelers fan. I'm saying that as I'm expecting them to probably be a reason why we might not make the playoffs. Because we look at those games now in our schedule as gimme games. I think Joe Burrow, if he's playing up to his level, and I believe if the line plays even half of what he needs them to do, they could be a scary team. Tua, we're going to put him at C tier. Now, hear me out. I'm not a huge fan of Tua. I don't love Tua, but you can't neglect that his numbers were pretty good. He had pretty good numbers, and he, while getting relieved in games by Fitzmagic wasn't a great thing for him or the Dolphins franchise, I think, in general. I think that, I think he'll develop. I think he's a guy I think will live up to pressure. I've talked a lot of trash about him. And shameless plug for something that doesn't exist yet. I am starting a sports podcast with one of my good friends. And we'll hopefully be doing it weekly, and it'll hopefully be starting as soon as the Hall of Fame game is around. We're still working out the thick of things. We're still working out what we're going to do with it since we live in 2 different areas, but be on the lookout. So, and on that podcast, you'll probably hear us. We're both not huge Tua fans. And our third, we might be having we might start with a third friend. He's a Tua supporter, the whole works. I've called Tua Tagovailoa many things in my pro comparisons, but I do think that he will take a step forward, especially with them drafting a wide receiver. Their offensive line is not, I don't believe, overly improved, but I think he'll do fine. Jalen Hurts, I believe, will be D tier. I like Jalen Hurts a lot. I wanted the Steelers to draft him. In all honesty, we instead got Chase Claypool. Things worked out. Whatever. We'll take that. I'll take that. But Jalen Hurts, I think, does not have the tools for him to succeed in Philadelphia, or at least to live up to as much of the expectations as he will have replacing ultimately an MVP caliber quarterback. I'm a huge Carson Wentz supporter, and I believe that taking up that mantle, at least in Philadelphia fans, I believe are love or hate on him, because MVP season, but also he didn't win the Super Bowl. Nick Foles did. We won't get into that here. Jalen Hurts has a hard job, and they're not making it any easier with Zach Ertz wanting a trade, and they drafted Devonta Smith, and that's a great addition. However, I don't know if that's particularly enough for this offense to really tool for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts in his couple of games, he beat the Saints, which was incredible. I love that. He dueled he was having a gunslinging showdown with Kyler Murray, and I believe he could have won that game if his defense decided to play defense. I think he has the talent to do it. I just don't know if they will do it. I don't know if the offense of the Eagles, the scheme of the Eagles, will allow him to succeed. Now, Carson Wentz is a weird one. And I say that, so I'm going to put him, I'd put him at like the edge of B to C tier. And I say that now. I say it's very weird because, again, I'm recording this July 31st, 7:31, at 3:47 in the morning. That doesn't care. That doesn't matter. I'm saying that because he has a foot injury. Today, or I guess yesterday, he injured his foot, and I don't know the status of that. And because of that, he's actually one of the backups not listed here. But Jacob Eason is taking first team reps with Sam Ehlinger as the second string. And they don't know how long Carson will be out. I've seen a report that said it was a bone and ligament thing. And I've also seen something that it's probably not that bad. Like maybe a couple of weeks. Like they're hoping like surgery, something, whatever. I don't like that. I really don't like that report, actually. I think if he was healthy and he started all 17 games, I think the Colts would be a playoff team, 11-5 maybe, or 11-6. I think he would do good. I'd probably see like a 25 to 30 touchdowns, and then like hopefully like a 10, maybe 15, or like 10 and like fumbles and change type of season. I believe that I think that could be realistic for him. I mean, this Colts O-line is the best he's ever had. He has he's pretty good supporting cast in Hilton and Pittman and Taylor in the backfield. I think and obviously it's in Frank Reich's system where he had the MVP season under. I believe that this Colts team is meant for him to succeed, but as I've seen today, his injuries, he is injury prone. He injured his foot today, and we don't know the extent. And until then, I feel fine putting him in B tier, like end of B, beginning of C tier, I think that's where I'm going to put him. Daniel Jones. I really struggle with it because I like Daniel Jones. I really do. I really, really like Daniel Jones. Or I don't like him at all, actually. I have no feelings one way or the other. I have more partiality towards him because I said he would succeed and Dwayne Haskins would not. And while I'm right, Daniel Jones is not succeeding either. I have the Giants to win the division, and for the Giants to win the division, Daniel Jones has to play competent football. Do I believe he will? Maybe. He got a new weapon. He got Kenny Golladay. He's getting Saquon Barkley back. And when I look at it, I think if he plays turnover-free, he has to be a game manager. Literally, that's it. He has to manage games. And the Giants can win them. The Giants won a game or two with Colt McCoy at the helm last year, and that was with Wayne Gallman as their starting running back and Darius Slayton at 1. Golladay is going to be at 1. Barkley's going to be back. Evan Ingram can hopefully catch a football next year. I believe Daniel Jones could have a decent season, and if he doesn't, well, fuck me then. Kirk Cousins will have a B-tier season. He'll have a season better than Carson Wentz. Kirk Cousins is madly underrated, and I don't know why, and it makes me angrier and angrier to think about. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. Minnesota fans and Washington fans trash him because of his primetime failures. But what I see is I see consistency in a whole season, or at least I see the drive. The Vikings started like 1-5, or they started really really bad, and he pulled them around. They complimented Justin Jefferson's rookie season, but who was throwing him all those bombs was Kirk Cousins. That offense is built for success. Thielen and Jefferson, Dalvin Cook at the running back, and then he got Irv Smith at the tight end after Kyle Rudolph finally said goodbye and went to the New York Giants. Another weapon for Daniel Jones. But anyway, I think Kirk Cousins will do good this year. That is what I like. Now, Lamar Jackson will have an S-tier season. He is a top 5 quarterback. Top 5, top 6, I believe. And he will truthfully have another great season. He's finally getting more weapons. I believe they drafted Rashad Bateman at wide receiver. They already have Marquise Brown. Devin Duvernay will probably be getting more snaps, as well as him having his favorite Mark Andrews. J.K. Dobbins is going to get more of a role now that Mark Ingram is a Texan. Lamar Jackson is set up to have just as good of a season as his MVP season. And I think he can do it. This is a backup. Josh Allen will have a high A bordering S tier season. I think that him and Stephon Diggs will continue their tear, as experienced front view as a Steelers fan. Josh Allen is incredible. His arm talent is insanity. And Stephon Diggs is one of the best route runners I've ever had the pleasure of watching, and I've been watching football a very long time in my young life. Even if Cole Beasley ends up getting cut because of his vaccine views, because of him being a total idiot, they have Emmanuel Sanders, and Emmanuel Sanders was more than capable of filling in. I believe that Josh Allen will have an amazing season. Garoppolo will have a C tier season. I like Garoppolo. I think he did good. I'm going to try to blaze through some of these. Garoppolo, I think he did good. When he started for the Super Bowl, 27 touchdowns, 13 picks, or something like that. He gets a lot of garbage for that Super Bowl overthrow. I saw one comment, and it was Marquise Goodwin was not playing that game. He was used to, in that set, whatever set that was, 3 wide receiver, 2 wide receiver, 4 wide receiver, whatever the set was, I don't care. He was used to throwing that deep ball. The normal wide receiver running that deep ball route was Marquise Goodwin. Olympic athlete Marquise Goodwin. I think he did long jump or something, but the point stands. And instead, he was throwing it to Emmanuel Sanders, who I believe in the 40 as a rookie ran like a 4.5 or something. Like, Emmanuel Sanders does not have the burners on him, especially at 32, or however old he was when he did like 30. So, I give Garoppolo credit for that one. However, I like Garoppolo. They don't have a ton of good receivers. Kittle's obviously going to be the best, and Kittle's going to do great. But Garoppolo's also mid glass, so I think middle C is fine. Herbert will have a good season again. Herbert did, 31 touchdowns and like 10 picks as a rookie? Something insane like that. And nothing's really changed offensively. I think he got a new coordinator, but that's about it. And, that does change things, obviously, if you looked at from Mayfield's rookie year with Kitchens as OC versus Kitchens at head coach and OC and play caller, but whatever, doesn't matter. Disregard. Justin Herbert is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield, and he has better. And I believe Justin Herbert will do just as good as he did last year, if not maybe a little bit better, knowing that he has more rapport with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and I believe he'll have a solid B-tier season, leading the Chargers in the hunt for the wild card. This is Davis Mills, I believe. UCLA quarterback, maybe. That's the only name I could think of, and if he starts at all, he will be bottom of the barrel. I'm under the guise that the Texans aren't as bad as they seem, personally. However, they're still very bad. They are awful. And I don't see a rookie surviving. I believe the last time, before Deshaun Watson, that a rookie had started for the Texans was Case Keenum, who, while doing decent in some games, actually no, Tom Savage started, I believe. Whatever. My point is that rookies that aren't Deshaun Watson don't fend well when they're on the Texans. And that was when, I believe, Savage and Keenum both started when they had Andre Johnson. They have no Andre Johnson. They have Brandon Cooks, who I like. I like Brandon Cooks. However, Brandon Cooks and David Johnson are about all they have, and that's whatever. So Davis Mills will do awful if he starts, and that's not a knock on his skill level at all. There's a lot of quarterbacks left. Kyler Murray will have a B tier, top of B tier season. I think if it wasn't for a shoulder injury, the Cardinals would have made the playoffs over the Bears, and the whole playoff picture could have looked very different. I believe that Kyler Murray had a great season. That's not my bias because he led me to a fantasy third place, making sure I didn't lose $100. And I believe Kyler Murray is a great quarterback, and adding A.J. Green as a red zone threat legitimately, besides DeAndre Hopkins, of course, I believe that's great. And I believe his rushing stats, I believe he had like 10 rushing touchdowns or something absurd. He did amazing last season. And if it wasn't for a shoulder injury that he obtained, I believe that he would have made the playoffs. And I believe that they will make the playoffs this year. Next, Matthew Stafford. We'll do... Oh, God, I love Matthew Stafford, and that's the problem. I'm going to put him here because Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp are a great starting two. Cam Akers is out, however, but this is also his first year in a competent offensive scheme that wasn't Jim Bob Cooter, for Christ's sake. I believe that with Sean McVay, he hopefully should blossom, as did Jared fucking Goff. So a middle B tier sounds good for Matthew Stafford. I also expect the Rams to be competing for playoff contention, obviously. They will definitely, I believe they're in the name for Super Bowl run. Jared Goff will do better than Daniel Jones, but not by much. I think Jared Goff is inherently a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. I believe he showed a lot of grit in playing his playoff game and a half with a broken fucking thumb. I believe in Detroit, he has not many weapons, but I think he'll develop a good rapport with Hawkinson. And I believe Marvin Jones is in Jacksonville now, I think. Anyway, doesn't matter. He will do poorly, but those are bad weapons, actually. Wow, alright, so Daniel Jones, Jared Goff, the quarterback, is better than Daniel Jones, the quarterback. However, their offensive situations are very reversed. Jared Goff will still do better. Jared Stidham is a backup. Cam Newton will do mid. Cam Newton's best season came when his number one wide receiver was a tight end in Greg Olsen. Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, however, are not tight ends like Greg Olsen. Hunter Henry has a lot of potential. He's always injured. Jonnu Smith was getting better year by year. I believe he was injured a decent amount last season, however. And with Damien Harris did pretty good running the ball. Jacoby Myers in the slot will be good. I believe Kendrick Bourne. I like Kendrick Bourne. Cam Newton will do decent, I think. He had a lot of rushing touchdowns. I think he had like 12 or something. He still has obvious running ability, in my opinion. And I think in my opinion, he'll do decent. It's just that simple. I think he'll do decent. The Patriots will win some games, and if that's also just the Cam Newton fanboy in me, so I'll put him at the top of D tier. I think he'll do better than Jalen Hurts. I think he could actually probably do better than Daniel Jones, because I think in general he's better than Daniel Jones. I think I'll keep it like that. Ben Roethlisberger. Trying to keep all biases aside, he will do, I think, middle of C tier, because he got shit on a lot for last season, and he had 33 touchdowns and 10 picks last season. I don't know how to critique him. His arm was falling apart a little, but if you watch the Colts game, specifically the one that they won, and the Browns game in the playoffs, he was slinging that rock as hard as he could, and it was going pretty far. I think when needed to, he could throw bombs. I think that whoever the offensive coordinator was last year, I have already forgotten him because I hated that entire situation. I think he did fine considering the circumstances, and I believe he'll do better this year. So actually, I'm gonna move him up. I've convinced myself not to B tier at all. I think Joe Burrow will probably do better. I think I think he'll do better. He can comparatively, comparing who they are as quarterbacks. I think Ben will do fine. Russell Wilson will have another S tier season. I think Russell Wilson if he had no line, that's like, I think that might be one of the biggest what ifs in the past like 10 years. What if Russell Wilson actually had an offensive line to help him for more than 2 seconds? Actually, I hate myself. I'm gonna swap them. Russell Wilson had an MVP start to the season, like the first 8 weeks or so, and then he became human. That's through no fault of his own. You know, he kind of had to fight for his life and be the entire Seahawks offense, and that's about all he did about as well as you'd expect, which is leading them to the playoffs before getting shockingly upset by the Rams. Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf are insane wide receiver duo, and Russell Wilson is an insane quarterback. He has insane skill, and I think that he will be at the top of A tier. I think he'll have another great season. I think the Seahawks will obviously be playoff contenders like they always have been in his career. Teddy Bridgewater starting at quarterback for the Broncos will be high D tier. I think he is mid. I really like Teddy Bridgewater, and I think with the weapons that the Panthers had, they should definitely have finished better than they did. Yeah, DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel and Mike Davis was playing his ass off, and they went 5-11, I believe. And I won't say that that's all Teddy Bridgewater's fault. However, when your team is 0-8 on opportunities to have a game-winning drive or a game-tying drive, something has to change, and it's definitely a quarterback thing. And I don't know how more aggressive Teddy Bridgewater can be. I don't know how more aggressive he will be using these set of wide receivers of like Jerry Jeudy and Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler and Noah Fant and all of them, Philip Lindsay. Like, I don't know how much this is going to be different than Carolina, because Carolina also had great wide receivers. But whatever, I think he'll probably put up a Carolina-esque performance, like 12 touchdown passes or something, like 12 or 15, like one of the two. I think he'll do decent. Drew Brees is retired, so okay. Mayfield will have a good season again. He'll do better than Wentz, probably worse overall than Herbert. He has one of the best offensive teams in the league. He has the best 1-2 punch in the league in Chubb and Hunt. He has OBJ and Jarvis Landry and this, that, and the other. Baker played very well within his scheme, within his skill set. I believe that the offense they created around him is genuinely so perfect for his skill set. And they had a real chance at beating the AFC champions. So I believe that they will probably do the same, if not better, because their team got better. And if Baker Mayfield can literally just maintain the status quo, he will have another pretty damn good season. Griffin's a backup. Drew Lock, if he starts, he'll be an F tier. Drew Lock sucks as a quarterback, as a starting quarterback. His mentality is too much of a fuck it, chuck it type of situation. And he's not even that great at that. I think he has a great arm. And to be honest, to be fair, that motherfucker is flying. That ball sails into the arms of DBs. And I think if he gets the starting job this season, one of two things will happen. You'll see that the quarterback challenge, the quarterback controversy, really got to him. It really motivated him to do more. And then you could probably see a little D or C tier production, or he'll maintain who he was before Teddy Bridgewater came in, which was a 16 touchdown, like 14 pick guy. I don't remember his exact stats. They were around there. 15, 13 maybe. He was not good. Was not very good. I don't expect much change. Carr? He'll probably... I didn't see much change in in Las Vegas. I didn't see much change, many additions. Hold on, I'm I'm sorting some backups here at this point. I didn't see many changes that the Raiders made to their offense, and I think that he did very well this season. And I think they were 7-7. I think he had them knocking on the playoff door, but then the Las Vegas beat Las Vegas and they collapsed late season again, like they did last year under Jay Gruden. Next question: Patrick Mahomes will have an S tier season. He'll probably do better than Josh Allen. Maybe he'll probably do better. Ooh, actually, ooh. Oh, actually, no. I think it'll be like this. I think they'll stay. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. He's the best young quarterback in the league by far. He has the best deep ball receiver. He has probably, I'll say, quote me on this, the second best tight end in the league. He has Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's also amazing. He has Mecole Hardman, a deep threat who's exciting. I mean, I think D.D. Westbrook did go to the Chiefs. So, that too. Patrick Mahomes is insane. He'll have an amazing season again, and they'll definitely be fighting for a playoff spot or a Super Bowl spot. Ryan Tannehill. Underrated is his name. Underrated is Ryan Tannehill's middle name. And he'll have an 8-year season. He'll do amazing. He'll do just as well as he did last season. He'll probably get no more recognition for it. And I think that's bullshit. Ryan Tannehill is silently, since he started starting for the Titans in the 1920 season, he probably put together one of the best, 23 or however many games, because he started all 16 last year, 20 plus game stretches that a quarterback's ever had. His pass rating's through the roof. He's just an insane amount of efficiency that I don't think have seen in a long, in a team that's not perpetually competing. Even though he went to the championship last year, I believe he got beat in the first championship 2 years ago, first round loss this year. Tannehill is incredible. The loss of Corey Davis does not hurt him. The loss of Corey Davis doesn't hurt him. Anyway, next question. Ryan Fitzmagic will be after Daniel Jones. I believe him working with Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel, having Antonio Gibson and the pass catcher in the backfields. J.D. McKissick, that's his name, as well as Logan Thomas, who's showing out at tight end. I believe that he has a very good chance to put together a Jets-like season. Because I recall, because I looked this up yesterday when I was talking about Fitzpatrick, him on the Jets, his season that he started after Geno Smith got fucking decked, 31 touchdowns to 15 picks or something weird, and they went 10-6. That was a solid defense and nobody good on offense besides maybe Eric Decker. Actually, I don't actually completely know that. Don't quote me on that. But Ryan Fitzpatrick is a great quarterback. He did a lot with very little, not only last season, but 2 seasons ago in his first season in Miami. And we've seen what he can do when he has offensive weapons like in Tampa Bay. When he has a viable deep threat like Deshaun Jackson, he can throw bombs. Him and Mike Evans had a good connection too. I think that this is a great situation for him to possibly go to the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers will be another S tier. Aaron Rodgers is the reigning MVP, and I believe that he'll put together not quite an MVP season, so we'll put him at the bottom of S, but he'll put together a great season. I mean, there's nothing really to say. It's Aaron Rodgers. No matter who he has around him, no matter what's added, he's always going to perform incredibly. 5 more. Sam Darnold will be bottom of D tier, probably better than the rookies, maybe minus Lawrence. Darnold's problems were both skill around him and skill within. I believe that he has incredible arm talent, but he's very streaky. I believe he's just basically a rich man's Drew Lock. His mechanics are off. He's literally, again, this is a direct quote of seeing ghosts. I believe that Carolina has great weapons. The loss of Curtis Samuel is a little bit rough, but DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson are still awesome for him to have. I think he'll do fine. I don't think he'll be making the playoffs. I think that his play might even make them regret not taking Justin Fields or around that, because I believe they drafted a DB instead. I think that he won't do great. I think they'll maybe try looking for other options later. Matt Ryan, I'll put bottom of B tier. Bottom of B tier. The loss of Julio will hurt him. The addition of Kyle Pitts will greatly help him because he loved Tony Gonzalez when he was there. Calvin Ridley's great. Calvin Ridley, I think it'll be the effect that Stafford and Dalton had gone under in their time in Cincinnati and in Detroit, where they lose their amazing, incredible wide receiver, and then they do better because they feel less obligated to force feed and more obligated to spread the ball around. Except in that case, Julio's always been injured, so Matt Ryan just kind of has to do that anyway. And Calvin Ridley is great. Calvin Ridley is an incredible wide receiver. I believe Matt Ryan will do pretty good. The Falcons as a team will do bad. Next, Dak Prescott. We'll give him an A tier. He was averaging the most yards in NFL history per game before he went down with 380. He still has Amari Cooper. He still has Michael Gallup. He still has CeeDee Lamb. Ezekiel Elliott's hopefully coming back into form. Literally, this offense is the scariest it's ever been. Defense hasn't made that many adjustments besides hiring Dan Quinn, who's a great DC. Not a great head coach, but anyway. They brought over Deion Jones, I believe that at least at one point they were looking to trade away Leighton Vander Esch, but whatever. Defense, if it maintains the status quo, I think he'll be fine. I think that he'll have to produce, and he can produce. I think the ankle injury hopefully won't hamper him as much as expected. I mean, it was a broken fucking ankle, but whatever. Excuse me. Deshaun Watson starts as he's an A tier. I think that, well, all right, hear me out. There we go. Deshaun Watson is incredible. He played last season. Okay, hold on. Deshaun Watson as a NFL football player is incredible. He's a great quarterback, amazing arm. He tries to do a little too much sometimes, and I believe that does kick him in the ass. However, I believe that overall, playing football and football alone, he is great. If he even touches the damn field, he'll do fine. I think the Texans were obviously better with him starting as a quarterback than without him. I believe that if these allegations are true, he should never step on a fucking football field again as long as he lives. However, right now, if he starts, he's a B tier. I think he'll be very good. Or I think he'll do just as well as he did last year, because, nothing's really changed. No more weapons have come or gone. The last one's Andy Dalton. If Andy Dalton starts for the Bears in the beginning of the season, I see him being a top of D tier. I think he'll do what he did in Dallas. He'll game manage. He'll do pretty good sometimes, and he'll do less than great other times. I think he'll do overall pretty fine. I think that the Bears will probably start out mid, like 2-2, 3-3, 2-4, something around those lines that make them realize that if they want to do good this season, if Matt Nagy wants to have his goddamn job next year, he's going to have to invigorate their team with Justin Fields. I believe Justin Fields has a bigger a bigger it factor than Andy Dalton does. Andy Dalton is what you get. He's a pocket passer. He has a decent arm. He'll throw it. He can make good throws. But you don't want him being your it factor. And this is your tier list. We've rated 50 whatever quarterbacks, and I'll say that this is a pretty good stat. This is a pretty good distribution, I would say. I think I'm proud of this. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe and leave a like on the video. This was Just Crust. Thank you for watching.